Will someone stand up and say we want to win the flag this year? Seriously. You are listening to Quarters and Barra. I am Glenn Quartermain, veteran sports reporter with the West Australian. With me is Adrian Barrage, veteran at everything. Veteran at the Perth Footy Club, veteran at the West Coast Eagles, and certainly a veteran at the West Australian. And Channel 7, we are brought to you by Tab Touch. Got the touch? Download the Tab Touch app today. Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Barra, what a remarkable season. Sydney grinds a win out, but it's hardly convincing. Port Adelaide, GWS, Brisbane, just when we said they're the favourites, they dropped one to GWS, and then the Dogs, who are one of the form teams, dropped one on the road. And my boys, Hawthorn, just continue to impress. So, amazing year. Who wins it?
Just when you get excited about one team, we've been through Sydney. We had them as unbeatable premiership contenders. How can Port Adelaide be second? They were trying to sack the coach midway through the season, and one of their greatest players, Treadray, was leading the charge. He must be keeping his head down.
He must be.
GWS have found some form. Geelong, we had out of the. I think you had out of the 8.
I had them out of the 8. Yeah, but you know what? And look, they're going to make
Brisbane,
it now.
Last week we had Brisbane as premiership favourites, and suddenly they lose. Fremantle, just injuries cruelled them. Bulldogs. You just can't trust them. And then you look at the ladder and go, hang on, Hawthorn's, they lost the first 5 games and we were shit-canning everyone. Yeah. And Sam Mitchell, he's not as great as he thinks he is. Yeah. He's not a genius. He's just a naughty boy or whatever. Yeah. And they're in the 8.
He's the Messiah
and
now.
Guess who's out? Carlton.
I know.
Who at some stage we had them as premiership contenders.
We did. I was a believer. Now I'm not sure what I am. But look, they did have quite a few injuries. But we'll talk about all those games.
They've got quite a few now.
Yeah,
6.
they have.
6,
which makes it very interesting.
You see the
this
pictures
weekend
on 7 last night of McRae going for scans. So imagine if Curnow and McRae are
Poor
out.
old McRae goes for scans, comes out, gets a parking fine. Did you see that?
Is that what happened?
On his windscreen. That happens in Melbourne.
Mate, the West Coast Eagles are going to unify the state. Seriously, this weekend, the West Coast Eagles are unifying the state.
Well, they're down to $2, I think.
Yeah, and because if they beat Carlton and do the biggest favour of all time for Fremantle, I think Fremantle, if West Coast beat Carlton, Fremantle are there. Whatever happens, I think. Yeah. It feels like that. So... But, and they're every chance with all those injuries who they bring over. It is a Sunday game.
GWS on the road's a really tough one for Fremantle, and then Port Adelaide at home. You give them that, but it's going to be tough. But look,
they get them because Darcy comes back, Tracy comes back.
Well, does Tracy come back?
Well, that's what they're saying.
Okay,
and Alex Pearce. Have you got news about Tracy or something? Or?
No, the cackle was that he's pretty sore boy. So I'm not...
Bone bruising.
I hope he's back, but, let's just cool our jets on that one.
Walters.
Alex Pearce came out on the ABC and said, I'm more than likely first week of finals, as opposed to playing the last couple of weeks.
Really?
So what he said was...
They get that extra break and everything.
Well, he just said with the arm last time, in hindsight, and which is a wonderful thing, as we know, came back a bit too early.
But I tell you what, if they need to win the game, it's pointless sitting out, isn't it?
Well, it is. Maybe last round. Maybe he comes back in for that last round. But I would be. It's not this week.
Be a huge card to play into the finals if he comes back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, you never mentioned the Wildcard that the AFL's.
I was getting to that.
Were you?
Yeah.
What about last week?
What do you mean?
Sorry, we got the nice. We're the nice guys now.
That's right.
Sorry, Glenn. I was wondering.
We're too nice.
Maybe we should have mentioned it last
some
week.
Some talk that we were too nice, mate. So let's just find a nice, healthy balance.
Oh, so we're too nice.
Mate, I'm a big boy, mate. You can have a go at me as I can have a go at
you. Well, why didn't you talk about Wildcard last week?
Well, let's talk about it this week.
All right, mate. So what's your view?
No.
No go.
Well,
my view is... Just explain what we're talking about.
So you have a play-in sort of series. So 9th and 10th have some skin in the game. You play 7th and 8th for an extra round to get into.
So in the break, when there's the break between the end of the home and away and the finals, in that week there?
Yep.
And so what, 9 and 10, who they play? 7 and 8 or something?
Yeah. It works like that. I think 7 plays, how does it work? 7 plays 10, 8 plays 9, something like that. But look.
And what happens after that?
Well, they come in and it's sudden death.
Oh, so you actually, if you're 7 and 8, you go out.
As you would week 1 of the finals anyway, mate. So, yeah, that's right. But my point is, I think it'll come in because I think the AFL will want the extra fixture and the extra moolah.
Is it?
But I don't like it.
Channel 7.
The reason why, Barra, is what we already have a sudden death wild card first week of the finals, and that's 5 down to 8.
It
So
works
why are we
beautiful.
adding an extra layer? Why are we awarding the mediocrity of finished 9th or 10th?
Have you done your study, Glenn?
Yeah, why?
On the NFL and how it works beautifully over there and
so
in the
do we have
American
to
sports?
Do we have to follow
No, we don't have
everything?
to follow, but it seems to create a lot of excitement. And it's a bit like the FA Cup when some team that you've never heard of from the third division gets through near the finals or makes the final.
That's a little bit different because that's promotion relegation and you have the playoffs to get
FA
in.
Cup, I said.
Oh, sorry, FA Cup, yeah.
FA Cup, yeah. So, yeah, any bloody team from Whoop Whoop, name a Whoop Whoop team down in the English Premier League.
Oh, God,
or not the Premier
Luton?
League.
Luton?
Yeah, Luton or
The Hatters?
Luton or lower.
Yeah.
Is there someone lower?
Well, Scunthorpe.
Sheffield Tuesday or Monday or Sheffield Friday?
Yeah, Sheffield Wednesday it is, but Scunthorpe? What about Scunthorpe?
Is Scunthorpe a team?
Yeah.
Really?
Everyone's got a team.
Is that right?
Everyone's got a
Nah,
team.
Scunthorpe's
It
not a
is
team.
so.
Is it? I'm Googling it
Okay,
now.
you Google it. The FA Cup's different. That's not like a wildcard play, and that's just teams playing each other from any division all over the UK. So,
Well, what I'm saying is the underdog coming through always creates amazing, you know what I mean? Amazing hype.
well, the NBL now has its play-in series, following on from the NBA, and that's fine. That's because it's a very Americanised sport. But I'm not sure whether we need to do this, Barra.
You're not
What I'm
sure?
saying is we will do it because the AFL will decree that there'll be more moolah coming in, so therefore it'll happen. So no sure thing.
All right, mate, you're right. Scunthorpe United FC,
Thank you.
based in North
What are they?
Lincoln-
What's their nickname?
North Lincolnshire,
Yeah.
wherever the hell that is. And they are, I think they're the Irons.
The Irons. Okay, so it must be.
Who wants to be named after an iron?
So obviously there's a lot of
Sunbeam.
steel fabrication done there or something. They
Oh, that sort of iron.
Yeah.
Okay, rightio.
Yes. Anyway, so that's my thoughts, and you're obviously for it.
I am from Channel 7. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but
Yes, I am.
guess where I'm sitting.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Extra couple of games during the break, a week off. Fantastic.
So
ratings.
my thoughts on the week off should be moved to the week before the grand final anyway. So we might have to have a longer season if that's going to happen. Because they will move the bye to the week before the grand final. It will happen.
Okay. All right, well, mate, so
Just with Freo, we just talk a little bit about Freo. So
All right.
I don't think it can be underestimated, and I don't want to make excuses for them because I think they've led something like 16 times at three-quarter time this year. They've lost 5 of them.
Yeah.
So, but I think without the key bookends of Pearce and Tracy, they did look very. He's a massive void, don't you think, in their forward line at the weekend?
Oh, mate, absolutely. And Jackson, I don't know what's happened to Jackson, but he couldn't stand up and fill in for Tracy. Taberner looked like a waffle player playing in the AFL, unfortunately. And he would do too, because he's been sitting around.
Yep.
He's supposed to be at Fremantle Oval. He gets the call, mate, you better get to Optus. I don't know why they just didn't play that big ruckman instead.
Reedy.
Yeah. I don't think the coach rates him in terms of doing the job.
Well,
if I was him, I'd be leaving.
We've got some mail on that, so we can. Yeah, well, he may. Well, look what happened with Lloyd Meek all those years ago. How's he going?
And he's in the 8 now.
How's he going?
So that's huge outs. Tracy, Darcy, and of course
Pearce.
and Son, I suppose.
And Son and Emmett as well. Who missed
Why
that
did they
week.
wait so long to pull Darcy out? Did you see him doing the warm up?
Because you give him to the absolute last minute to prove his fitness. Sometimes they do come good. I guess that's why. I don't think there was any subterfuge
Did they
about
need
it.
to do that? I mean,
Maybe he just didn't feel right when he got out there for the warm up.
and I suppose they didn't know Reece Stanley was going to play out of his brain either.
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
Well,
he did surprise, didn't he, Reece Stanley?
by the way, kudos to
What was Jacko doing, letting Reece Stanley absolutely dominate?
yeah.
I think
well,
ever since he's changed managers, he hasn't been the same bloke.
Dangerfield, mate. Let's just talk about him for a moment. Even though, look, they're fourth, mate. They've got that same look about them from a couple of years ago when they just came good at the end of the year, and Dangerfield's just ripening at the exact
You
time.
had them
he
missing in
should.
the 8. Now
I know
you're
I
saying, now you just said to me.
Well, I'm saying
they're
they're
fourth,
now the
mate.
Smoky.
They're fourth.
They're now the Smoky. Smoky, not the favourite.
Mate, this year's going to make a fool of everyone.
Yeah,
isn't it?
well,
Not
I've
saying you're a fool, but just saying that it makes fools of us now.
Well, I
doesn't
will
it?
put my hand up above my head and say I picked Melbourne to win the flag and how they going. But just on that,
Where are they?
bit of
9,
cackle about
10,
Christian
11, 12,
Petrarca, Barra.
13. Mate, I told you that last week. Mm-hmm. Boys, did I mention Petrarca last week?
Wanting to leave.
Joshy, did I actually say that on this podcast, that I had mail that he might be wanting to leave.
Well, your mail's good, but I don't think he can, mate, because he has got a long-term contract and they do not want to lose
Doesn't matter,
him.
mate. Tom Barrass.
Yeah.
You're pinching Tom Barrass. He's got 3 more
Not
years
yet.
to go.
Not yet.
You reckon he's going?
Sounds like it. What are they going
So
to
why are you
get for
saying
him?
not yet then?
Well, it's not a done deal. You've still got to satisfy with the trade.
Yeah.
So if the Eagles are after 2 first-rounder, maybe they'll be told they're dreaming.
So it'll be a first rounder and a sweetener, won't it? Maybe a
Yeah,
second
something
rounder?
like that.
Are you...
Denver Granger Barrass can't get a game with the Hawks at the moment. Maybe you three. I'm not saying but he
Part of the deal?
could be part of the deal.
How do you feel about a bloke leaving with 3 years on his contract?
It's sign of the times.
And he's a premiership player.
Sign of the times. It happens, doesn't it? I'm okay with it.
Good mates with McGovern, who plays out of his brain, is just like a hero.
I think they're dog years, though, as you know, Barra, and you're entitled to chase whatever you can.
He's not. Oh, you mean money? He's
I mean
chasing money.
money.
So you're saying he's going for
No,
the money?
I'm saying
So when did it become sweet to go for the money?
Well, not. I didn't say that. Just when I said dog years, I mean it's a very short career, a life as an AFL footballer.
He's not dying at the Eagles, mate. He's going to still be playing.
I know, and he's
So
playing.
what did dog years? His same years.
Yeah, okay, but
You're talking about money.
it's still of course there's money in 5-year deal, but I think the next couple of years is still going to be pretty tough at West Coast, and he's obviously had a chat with Sam Mitchell, which we've discussed, and he might have sold a really good vision to Tom, and Tom might think, geez, I could get another flag here, so that could be that as well.
So he's being quite selfish, is what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying he's being selfish. I think
No. Well,
AFL players.
what you just described would be selfishness. I'm
don't-
putting myself before the team.
Actually, no, you might be putting your family first.
What do you mean? He's on a squillionaire.
Well, no, but
So he wants more squillions.
you might be putting your family first, Barra. I'm saying.
In
I
what
don't-
sense?
I don't think that it makes you selfish if you want to move clubs as an AFL player.
Get the Cambridge Dictionary, Josh. Look up selfish, mate. Tell me what it says.
I think you're fine.
Putting yourself before other things.
Now, Barra, you've never been the greatest wordsmith, so don't start throwing
Mate,
the dictionary at me.
well, that's one word I do know, and it's selfish.
Yeah, okay.
And I think you got to call it for what it is.
I think you need to take your parochial hat off.
No,
you,
I'm not
mate.
being parochial.
think
You're
you
being
are.
parochial because it's your team.
No,
You
I'd
can't
be the same
you
if it was
can't
any
be
club.
objective because you're going to get
course I can
our
be
best defender,
Of course, I
and
can
you're
be
probably going to
objective.
win the flag.
I'm always objective.
No, you're not.
Barra. Yes, I am.
So if you are saying that he should go, then you're not being objective.
I'm not saying he should go.
What are you saying?
I'm saying he's more than entitled to have the conversation with Hawthorn, and if the deal works out for all parties, then you go and it's
Well,
okay.
I'm saying he should stay.
Yeah,
Tommy, if you're in the
all
car, I know you listen to slightly different broadcasts and a bit more left wing and
Yes.
a bit more out there, that sort of stuff. I get that, and
He should be a radio national man.
I love
Tom,
that.
I think.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a very cerebral guy, but we're half cerebral. If that's a word.
Yeah.
And we understand what's going on.
Yeah, I might be
and there's
three
no use
quarters.
no use trying to con us. I interviewed him.
I'm not conning anyone.
4
mate.
weeks ago. Not you. I'm talking to him. I'm still talking to him, right? So I interviewed him 4 weeks ago and I put it on him. I said, what about this talk about you leaving? And he said he wanted to be an Eagle for life unless they asked me to leave.
I was with you at that.
Yeah,
press
you were there,
conference.
so you're an eyewitness. So,
That's
okay,
footy
well, you give me your perspective on what he said.
That's footy speak. You
Like
tell a few,
last week.
Well, you might tell a few porkies, but that's footy
So
speak.
you reckon he's telling porkies?
Well, it sounds like it's getting pretty strong that the move might be on. So you work it out.
So he wasn't being frank with us then, was he?
Well-
He's going, look, I love it here, my family. I don't think, I understand it's, business and, the world's changed, but sometimes...
There's short years.
And the way
Adrian.
they're how encouraged would he be about back-to-back games? He hasn't even been playing and they've won without him. So he comes back in, they play Carlton, maybe he gets McRae, maybe McKay's out, Kerno's
I
out.
think McKay's out.
Who's the forward that'll come in? Who they got?
They're bereft, Barra. I think they're in a bit of trouble.
And you know what? Who needs him?
Might have
It's
to
Carlton.
shuffle the deck
Carlton
chairs a
X will need him, don't they?
Western Bulldogs need him. I think Sydney could do with him. There's a couple of clubs that could do with him. So maybe there'll be another suitor, which is fine.
Because Wiedering looks beat.
He's had chats with the Western Bulldogs this year as well.
Yeah.
Which is
but
more
just
than reasonable.
I just mentioned Carlton. So Carlton Wiedering beaten up and,
he
struggling
looks-
a bit.
he looks sore,
He
yeah.
needs backup, doesn't he?
Yep,
So he is in demand. I get it. If you're in demand, you try to get as much as you can, don't you?
you do.
That
You
he-
do. I'm okay with it.
But
I
he
really
has
am.
got just for the record, he has got a three-year deal.
Hey, we should also mention just quickly before we move on to the Eagles, Dyson Heppell today announced his retirement. I think that's a 14-year career with Essendon. Writing's been on the wall for a time. When you go to the half-back line, and then you become the sub, and then you're out, and you become the sub, writing on the wall, and probably a good timing for him to make that decision. But has been a great player for a long time for the Bombers. So well done on a fine career.
252 games, best and fairest, all Australian, former captain. Yeah, it was a weird week last week with Gaff and Dusty.
Did you see, with Gaff, love the run with the fly to the footy mark to get it down to the forward line for Oscar to, how's Oscar's day, by the way? Howler to open and then ends up with 5. So wonderful effort by him.
2 in the last quarter, kicked the sealer.
Yeah, so
how's the way he didn't fly for the ball on the last kick in, and he actually roved it. He pulled out and went on and it fell into his arms and he snapped it. But Gaffy, I heard Elliot Yeo speak today, and he was saying that he told Gaffy, mate, go for it. You got the breeze, go for it. And everyone knows he can't kick over a jam tin. And
so he had a crack.
And then Yoey says, put it up, just put it up in the air, And he kicked a bullet, and they got marked. And mate, it would have been great to see Gaffy kick that goal. Be great, Hey, here's one for you. Imagine, just imagine if it's Gaffy
after the siren against Carlton this week.
Yeah. And does it for Fremantle. So if Gaffy wins the game for Fremantle and the Eagles.
I see the irony here, yes.
How would you reckon the Fremantle people would then forgive him? They go, oh, he's not a bad bloke.
No.
He was such a nice bloke.
I don't.
He didn't mean
they
it.
Should, but
he
they
just
won't.
threw his arm back, all the stuff the Eagles people are going about. You reckon? You reckon that might happen?
I think they'd be happy
if he wins
for about
the game
24
for him,
hours.
He kicks the win.
They've still got to do the job, though, Freo. They've still got to win. It's hard. It's a hard road for them.
Who's the biggest Docker fan we know? That Mark the pastor on Twitter, or he's a religious man.
I've got a few mates who are really big Fremantle supporters.
Yeah, I've got a couple of my mates listening. So I'd love to know from them.
They're very frustrated at the
Email
moment.
us in if Gaffy's having a shot from 30 out directly in front after the siren to win the game for the Eagles over the Blues. Are you barracking for Gaff? Would the Fremantle people be going, yes, go Gaff, you bloody legend?
Yeah, I think for 24 hours. I don't think they'll ever forgive, but they should, because it really didn't intend to do that. Hey, just by the way, Oscar Allen, 5 goals. That's what happened when you're happy, mate. You get engaged, you announce your engagement, and out you come with a handful of goals. Very nice work.
Oh, is that what's happened?
Last week, yeah.
I didn't realise
Now, where does this put Jarrad Schofield now?
Well, mate, in my package on Saturday night, I said, I'm not saying that it's anything to do with me, but my line was, the people that are picking the next coach will see those pictures and they'll see the way that the players are reacting to him and hugging him after the match and basically pouring love into him. And they're thinking, whoa, these guys really like this guy. There's something there, isn't there? The young guys like Jinby and co and Harley and important players have really shown some love, haven't they?
Yeah, so you're a bit like Raygun. You've done a couple of backflips here.
Raygun. I love Raygun.
You've done a couple of backflips, haven't you?
What a legend, Raygun. Where do you sit on Raygun? Let's deal with that.
No.
Oh, come on. What do you mean?
It's a waste of oxygen at the Olympics, that event. Should not be there.
Oh, yeah. So it's
demeaning.
It's not going to be in the next one.
I'm not sure if Raygun should have been there, mate.
But what an icon.
Why?
Because she's gone there.
Made a mockery of the
and
Olympics.
She's either thought, I'm going to take the P155, or I'm going to make a political statement, or there's no chance of me winning, so I'm going to pivot into something. And
well, she's certainly going to pivot into something. Imagine the sportsman's nights or sportswoman's nights she can host now, and then come out and do a little bit of a routine.
She's the
end of it.
She's the new Eddie the Eagle.
Oh yeah.
Eric, what was the other bloke? Eric the
Eel
from Mozambique.
That's it. Yeah.
Swam the 100 metres Mozambique. Was
it?
Yeah. In 2 minutes, he took for 100 metres.
Yeah, I know, it was very funny. Anyway, I don't think it's, mate. I'm just on a serious note. When you see athletes, over track distance, you see Nina Kennedy, the absolute effort and 10 years that goes into that performance, standing at the top of the runway, needing to get that 490 vault in. When you see...
Thanks, Chompers. That's when she won me. Yeah. Thanks, Chompers.
Tony
Jones.
The swimmers, the divers, the cyclists, and then that trite gets thrown out there, breakdancing. It does not belong in the Olympics. It's not an Olympic sport.
But it's there. And
well, thankfully not for long, because it's not going to be in LA.
Do you know my mate?
If you want to see breakdancing in LA, Barra, just go down to Venice Beach, which is where it belongs. It does not belong in the Olympics.
Yeah, we all agree with that. And it's not... And Australia didn't even have a break association. It was like they used the the dancing, the ballroom dancing crew to do it.
This is like Mick Collis going to play.
Yeah, I was about to mention our mate Mick Collis.
Yeah.
So
But
that's
love
exactly,
Mick.
but that's
Love Mick.
but that's exactly what's happened.
Yeah.
So she's realised there's no association in Australia, so she started it. Had a bit of a championship. Her husband was the judge, one of the judges. He ends up being the coach. She ends up winning it and going over there. Gets a free trip to Paris and a million memes.
Yeah, no,
memes.
now, by the way,
memes, aren't they?
So anyone who doesn't understand the segue, so Mick Collis, it was Sudoku. He started the Australian Sudoku team. If you haven't seen his act, go and see it. It's very good. He's a great man.
I can't believe he's still milking that.
Never wanted to. No, he's so talented. And there's be a movie coming out too. Did you know that?
Yeah, dinkum.
Yeah,
mate, I was deeply.
But he didn't want to. It was all API 55 take. That's all. And the whole thing is, he knew he wasn't going to compete at the Olympics. But this, I think, is just a bit of a waste of space.
So Mick's clever bugger, and she's
I'm not saying she's not clever. She's done it really well, but I don't think it belongs at the Olympics. That's my point. Nothing against her. It's just it does not belong, and thankfully LA's canned it before it even had a sort of a. It's like the cicada, mate. The life of a cicada. You spend your whole life underground. You see one day of daylight, then you're gone. That's what happens.
Nice analogy. You know, Mick though. He his thing was, because I used to call the rugby with him on 6BR, and he's a huge rugby man, and he wanted to play for the Wallabies, and he wasn't good enough, right? And then he couldn't swim for Australia, and he just wanted to represent Australia.
And Sharon, his wife, is a
water polo
Olympian.
Yeah, so he didn't want his wife always beating him. He wanted an Australian blazer, didn't he?
He did. And he got one, made in Bali.
So he looked through all the sports, and he thought, what can I do here to represent Australia? And Sudoku, which is like doing crosswords, right?
Yep.
And he invented the Australian Sudoku Association and had a championship.
Yeah.
And he had never done Sudoku before that.
Well, you know, the first Sudoku puzzle he completed was on the plane flying to Japan.
To the World Championships.
To the World Championships.
And he's representing Australia.
It's a great
story. He got
story.
his blazers out and he got them all built. And so why is that not the same as this poor girl?
Because he was not competing at the Olympics.
Oh, it's the Olympics. You don't want to taint the Olympics.
No, I don't.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyway, just a couple other games over the weekend. Just there was stuff happening everywhere. Let's start with Gold Coast v Essendon, and Mac Andrew shifted from defence into the forward line and actually has proven there's not a lot of him, Barra. But I tell you what, he's a feisty one. He loves the old melee. He's kicked 4, and he's kicked that from the. He wanted that football. He wanted that opportunity to kick it after the siren. I thought it was wonderful theatre, and well done to him, and well done to Gold Coast.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a great finish for television. But what were the Bombers doing? They missed so many opportunities, had so many inside 50s.
It's been that year for him, mate.
Just horrific.
They're just not good ball users.
And then
Do you agree with that?
And then I think Mac got vilified at the end by the crowd, which is never good. 29,000 at Marvel Stadium. Good to see the Gold Coast win one on the road as well.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know about the Gold Coast Suns, and I certainly don't know about Essendon. Imagine being a Bombers fan. You'd be devastated, wouldn't you?
Oh.
Who'd be more pissed off, Carlton fans or Bombers fans?
Oh, I think Bombers fans, because I suppose Carlton fans have injuries to fall back on. But you know, the Schadenfreude of me is sort of enjoying it a bit.
Squeeze me?
I don't,
what?
It's the when you enjoy someone
unhappy
else's
joy.
Misery. Yes.
Oh yeah, right.
You know,
gleeful
Hawthorn
joy.
and Essendon, you know.
What was it?
Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude.
Yeah, I'm just trying to educate.
Is that off The Simpsons or?
Hey?
I reckon you got that off The Simpsons.
Nah, mate. No.
Hey, before you go on, what about this? As the way the ladder stands at the moment, you'll love this, mate. You will love this. As the ladder stands at the moment, if we had finals next week, guess what? G Quartermain.
Hawthorn is playing Brisbane at the Gabba.
And there would be no finals played in Victoria in the first week of finals.
Freo gets a home final against
Never happened before
the
except
Western
for crazy
Bulldogs.
COVID. Imagine the MCG silent on week 1 of the finals. No roar of the crowd in Melbourne on Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. Sydney has a final. Adelaide has a final. Brizzy has a final. Perth has a final. No finals to the Victorians.
Well, 9th, 10th and 11th, Carlton, Essendon and Collingwood have got a bit of work to do, Barra.
The boys
They've
are laughing
changed this
out
up
there.
a bit.
They're loving it. Aren't you, Josh? You love that. He loves it. He's a good West Australian.
Don't know what they're going to do. I remember when...
What would the Victorians do with footy?
Well, I can tell you, in 2004, was that Brisbane Port that year? So on the front page or the back page of the Herald Sun, they had on the day of the grand final, Port Adelaide, Brisbane, they had things to do in Melbourne today. And they had like a little, and that one of them was mow the lawn. The other was tinker in the garage. And so, mate, they'll be.
Mate, you can go to those crazy beaches of yours.
They're good beaches.
Oh, mate, they're not. They shouldn't even be called a beach. Honestly, St Kilda Beach. You cannot have a beach when there's no waves.
So if you
come to WA and we go, mate, look at this white sand.
So you're not happy
Look
with,
at the waves.
You're not happy going another 30 minutes down the road to the Mornington Peninsula where you've got Portsea, where you've got all those beautiful beaches?
Yeah, you can go down there, Bells Beach and all that, but don't start calling St Kilda Beach South Melbourne Beach. They're called beaches, mate.
I know they're
Google
beaches.
them.
Well, there's sand on them and there's water that crashes
mate,
into
it's
them.
a bloody
beaches.
lake, a bay.
It's not the They're not the finest beaches.
You're hanging out in the bay.
Yeah, well, that's why you go down the coast. Or you can go further to Phillip Island, down to Geelong, gateway to the Great Ocean Road. Beautiful beaches in Victoria.
Mate, we've still got better beaches.
I'm not questioning that.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone
Don't ever go to our beaches, mate.
No one can.
All right, Scarborough, Scottisley.
Let's move on to a couple of other teams.
Swanbourne.
Brisbane managed to lose to the Giants at home after being 25 plus in contested possessions in the first quarter. Look, they're doing it without Hipwood and Payne, so I reckon we give them a bit of a mulligan for that game, Barra, and I still expect them to play a big part in the finals.
Oh, you think so? Yeah.
I think so.
Losing at the Gabba, they kicked 16 behinds, and the Giants are unbelievably accurate.
They are.
13-4. 13-4 and Hogan with 3.
And not only that, mate, Hogan with 3, they've got another weapon now in the midfield, Peatling. He was very good at the weekend, but their back line's starting to come together again. Taylor, Buckley, Iden, they're just starting to find their feet again. So I think they're a real genuine threat this year, and I think we'd all love to see GWS salute, wouldn't we, if they were to go through and win it?
It would be historic. I love that Darcy Jones too. Mate, he actually won the game. He kicked 2 goals at the end, at the death there. He was the kid from Perth, such a great kid.
Are we discounting Port Adelaide? Like they're now second. I mean, and you know I've been a Ken Hinkley fan from way back. You know that.
They win the showdown then?
I think so, but I'll tell you what, Adelaide are doing what they do every single year. Can't make the finals, fly the flag, look at our momentum, it's amazing. So everyone picks them to make the finals the year after as a result. Well, you know what, Barra, I'm telling you now, I won't be. I'm not getting sucked into that again. I can tell you now, when I do my ladder next year, Adelaide won't be in it, in the top 8.
Both teams had the same number of shots at goal. That was interesting. So, but the Bulldogs just couldn't get it done, couldn't they?
I don't know. I think it's an away trip. Look, well, let's give them a bit of a mulligan too. Their form's still been pretty good. I think with Brisbane, Dogs, Hawthorn, GWS, they're the 4, aren't they, really, who've been sort of still having the form at this time of year.
If you're Eagles, are you still talking to English or not?
Yeah. Absolutely.
No, but seriously, do you want him?
Yeah, I do. He's an All-Australian ruckman. Because he's an All-Australian ruckman who can move like a midfielder.
Yeah, but have you seen his stats? He doesn't win clearances. He doesn't win
maybe he needs a fresh challenge, mate.
Maybe he can start the Bulldogs.
Oh, maybe. But I really rate him.
I think he's staying there. I think the Eagles have gone off him.
Okay.
And I know... Yeah, I mean, Bailey Williams has been spectacular in how he's punched above his weight. Flynn's coming back this week, probably. Mm-hmm. Maybe they just get the guy from the Dockers, grab him, the big fella,
Liam Reedy.
Yeah, just get him in there as backup. I think ruckmen are overrated. I reckon a little bit. I know Darcy was crucial.
Depends on what sort of a ruckman you are. There are some who the opposition just shark, and it really doesn't make much of a difference. But there are some who are just very good at it, like Grundy, like Gawn. Yeah. And I think I wouldn't say they're overrated.
No, I'm not saying. I mean, they're going to the top of the tree there, though. You've got Polly Farmer as well.
Well, Polly hasn't played for a while. It's just a couple of others. Sydney, we're not sure about them. It wasn't a convincing win, but what was important, I think, was the superstars riding, the cream rising to the top when it counted. Warner and Heaney, big last quarters. The one game I wanted to talk, this is what I wanted to talk about. What did you think of Craig McRae post-game?
Yeah, I thought that was brave comments.
I thought that was a sore loser comments.
And Longmire slotted him.
Oh, wasn't it great?
Just said,
it was brilliant.
hang on. There's a bloke from Collingwood saying that there's a home ground advantage and that the umpires might have been influenced by the crowd, and they play 14 games at the MCG and 3 at Marvel. No, that's 14 and 3.
Okay.
Because Kane Corns shot himself in the foot. He goes 17 at the MCG. And
I might have said that at the weekend too.
Did they?
Yeah.
Everyone came for him. but 14-3. So 17
games in Melbourne without leaving your bed.
Yeah.
And also, don't forget the North Melbourne game when there were a couple of Collingwood players encroaching on the mark. Was it Bailey Scott with the footy? And they didn't get the free kick. So when it suits you, Craig, I didn't like it. I really liked Craig McRae the last couple of years, but I reckon the last month, the pressure's been on him. I don't think his response has been great. I thought it was pretty poor post-match at the weekend, and I loved John Longmire smashing him the next day.
All right, well, let's break it down. Firstly, was he right? Should it have been a 50?
It should have been, but it's not consistent. So what should the North Melbourne one have been a 50? Yes.
So he was right. He was right to say it should have been a 50.
Yep.
Yeah, right. But then, so why wasn't it a 50? Just because the umpires are shizen or inconsistent?
Because it is 1 week and it's not the next.
Nothing to do with the crowd or home ground?
I don't think so. I mean, well, it's just they're inconsistent.
Yeah,
Maybe they're caught in the moment a bit, Barra, and they're looking else. I'm not sure. But
it's so frustrating. Do you know with the umpires, do you get frustrated with them when your team is losing? Or when you've tipped a certain way and they give a bad decision? Or are we more sort of...
I think it's more frustration across the board at why wasn't that a free kick when it was in the game I watched last night.
Okay.
They've really got to iron that out, Barra, because it's always I call it the American rule, and that is you take an American to the footy and try and explain every free kick. You'd have no hope.
Oh, I know.
But hang on,
you take Yanks to the footy and they just like the goal umpires. Hey, how's the guy doing with the flags?
Well, they used to when they had the butcher's coats.
And the butcher's coat, they really loved it when
I reckon bring them back for retro round.
Got no idea the Yanks.
Yeah. Oh no, that's not fair. Got a lot
of
my good friends
nice
live
to everyone,
over there.
mate. Fair income.
Nice.
No, I love the people.
Don't just put a blanket over a whole country and say that.
Have you been watching the election campaign?
Oh yeah. That's a difference. So now we've got to talk about my boys.
Marga, what do they call it?
Hawthorn, very impressive, but Barra. There is a banana skin. It's not over the line. So Richmond, they should take account of this week, but nothing's guaranteed. How much would Clarko in the final round of the season, Barra, love to knock Hawthorn out of the finals? Oh, can you imagine?
Yeah.
North Melbourne Hawthorn.
That's the final
down at
game.
Launceston.
Oh, horrible.
It's not Blundstone, but still.
Oh, jeez. He's got to get past Richmond, which they will. Your guys
should.
Yeah. So that
I think so.
So that makes them 52.
Yeah.
Carlton, if Carlton get beaten, and they might still get there anyway if the Eagles do the job. The Eagles are going to unify Western Australia. They're about to do what no premier, which no prime minister, which no governor, which Basil can't do. No,
do they want
Rita Saffioti, not anyone can do it. Do they want to do it? They want to beat Carlton, absolutely.
Okay.
And they'll unify the state. It's a magnificent weekend for us.
So
how about Optus?
Well, they can't climb.
You getting a freebie?
They can't climb. So they can't go up you know what I mean? They can go down, but they can't go. That's it. They're finishing in the bottom three.
We want you guys we want Hawthorn to plummet because if you're taking Barrass, we want your first pick. So we want you to go down the ladder.
Yep.
So maybe that's the other side of it. Hey, what about Optus on the weekend? Are you getting
the Wallabies?
You got the freebie going?
No, I haven't.
Oh, bullshit.
No, well, actually, as it's...
You're in the leather chairs,
mate.
No. Come on, mate. Talking to me now.
Can I finish? I will be I'll be doing some analysis of the Saturday game, which is GWS Fremantle. I'll be off the TV because I'm not in Sydney, but...
That's over early, mate. It's a night game.
And then I'm going to Lathlane Park, to Mineral Resources Park on Saturday.
Really?
Perth's playing South Fremantle, but it's a tribute game for a late mate of mine. So I'm going to get there at half time and go and have a couple of beers.
Really? You're coming to Perth? You know I'm the president there.
I know you're the president.
Mate, you want to come to the president's lunch?
I don't need any special favours. I'm happy to sit.
No, come to the president's lunch.
You know I'm a man of the people, right? So I like to be out there with the masses. Yeah. I'm a man of the... I'm not...
In our luncheons, very, very...
I'm going to be too late, mate. I'm going to be there
down
at half
to earth
I won't get there till half time.
Oh.
But I'll come and say good day to you.
And we could have done a little podcast on the stage.
We could have too.
Yeah, Stinger Ray and all the boys there.
If judging by the blokes I'm going to meet, you probably don't want me post-match.
Yeah.
Because if we win,
we would. We don't give a shit as long as we win. But, mate...
Let's see how we go.
That's good. I didn't realise, mate. That's great news.
Yeah, let's see how we go.
But what about Optus? So, Saturday...
The Wallabies.
Did you see they got absolutely pounded?
Mm-hmm.
The Springboks smashed them. Yeah, the Springboks are as good as when they won the World Championship. When they were World
Argentina just beat the All Blacks as well.
Yeah, so they're on the rise. But I reckon the Springboks, and so our blokes got a real reality check, and then they've got to come here now and play at Optus Saturday night, and then they've got to flip the Optus people got to flip the game, flip the stadium to footy for the next day.
They're pretty good at that.
I know, but how's it going to go?
You can see a little bit of fading paint, just a little bit sometimes, but I reckon they do a pretty good job of transforming that venue in 24 hours.
Getting the goalposts out.
They do a good job.
Yeah, I mean, full credit to them.
They've had a few issues with the grass this year, but that's been more a environmental thing, the ryegrass that didn't grow at the right rate, etc. And the ground has been less than, it should be better, the surface. But it's come good. And
the Blues will be...
Give them some plaudits when they deserve it. They actually do a pretty good job of turning it around.
The Blues will be praying for rain, mate. Don't worry about that.
Oh, yeah.
Where was the mosquito fleet? Remember that? The
Yes.
Blues?
Rod Ashman, Vin Katoggio.
Yeah.
Who else was in there?
Alex
Marcoux.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Mate, this is the new
He's
mosquito
a big man.
fleet.
You know what he does now, Alex Marcoux? He's into fashion, men's fashion, like suits and what have you. That's what he does.
I might have guessed that. The Dominator, was he part of that?
Wayne Johnson, no, he was more of a half-forward midfielder and he just dominated.
He was very confident.
That's why he's called the Dominator.
He was good to go out with, left footer, and he really knew how to have a good time.
It feels like we've been a bit ripped off with Carlton because I think we love to see them up and about.
Oh, yeah.
It makes it interesting, and I just feel it's fallen away a bit. Vossi, is he under any pressure, Vossi?
Well, they just backed him in again today, but I tell you what, there's a lot of Carlton fans in Perth because you go back to Peter Basusto.
Great player, the Buzz.
Ken Hunter.
One of yours.
Mike Fitzpatrick.
It's a huge Carlton connection here.
Massive connection. Rhett Baines, good mate of mine, passed
Did you
away.
mention Kenny Hunter?
Yeah, Kenny Hunter, yeah. No, he Claremont and coached at Perth. Mike Fitzpatrick ended up being the AFL chairman. And the other thing that's in town is the UFC, mate.
Yep.
Now, I've left it way too late, but I've
Not
got to...
really my cup of tea.
I've got to get there, mate. I reckon it was one of the best things I've ever seen.
Yeah,
the last one.
I'm Queensbury, man, on boxing. I went to it. The last one.
Did you?
Can see why.
So you're up in the super box, though, eh?
I was on that occasion, yeah. But it was 7 a.m, so it's like, it's a bit different. But the thing about UFC...
Were you drinking at 7 a.m?
No. The thing that I'll concede... I was actually offered at the time. I was on my 100-day stint. But the thing I'll concede about UFC is it's the old local pub test, right? I'll go past my local when there's boxing on, and it'll be pretty crowded. I'll go past my local when there's UFC on, and there's a queue about 100 metres up the road. So I get it. It's really
Young
popular.
blokes love it. My son loves it.
I'm just not as big a fan of it as I am pure Queensbury rules. I'm just more of a boxing fan. So we've got Alex Winwood coming up in Perth for a world title in a few weeks.
Yeah, we've got to get behind him. Des Headland and Danny Green and all that. But, mate, the UFC, the best product I've ever seen.
Okay.
I went last time.
Were you at the Lomachenko? You were at the Lomachenko fight.
I was ringside. It was better than that even because... the way they do it, the way they manipulate you, and it's like being in the Coliseum, like in the old days when the Lions were fighting and
it's very, very
other
popular.
stuff was going on. Gladiators.
It is
and you turn into a bit of a bloodthirsty gladiator too. I think blokes were jumping up that you wouldn't have thought and screaming out stuff, kill him and all this sort of thing going, what the hell's going on here?
I knew a gladiator. I went to school with one of the girls who won the first gladiator competition back in the day. Remember they had that thing? Was it on Channel 7?
Yeah, Gladiators, yeah.
Lorraine was her name. I think she was Ice, something like that. Anyway, she used to... We're good friends on social media now, but back in the day at school, I don't think she liked me very much. She used to try and chase me and punch me, and fortunately I was too quick.
Really?
I was quite quick.
She's still fit?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. She's very fit, yeah. Yeah.
Mate, at the UFC, though, you've got to be on your toes, too, because there's that many lunatics who think they're Muhammad Ali. Well, not Muhammad Ali.
They get a bit fired up with the events in the octagon, do they?
They think, and so even in the toilets, you don't look sideways too much, and because it's a real...
So clearly you're angling for a sweet ticket here. Have you got one already?
No, I think I've missed a sweet. I don't know who they put in there.
Okay.
So you're sure you're not in there?
No, I'm not, mate.
Mate, if you're in there, I'll blow up the
When
lights.
is it? When is it?
It's on Sunday.
No, I'll be working. No, I'll be here. Mate, no.
I've got to go to the Eagles game anyway, mate,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't mind, because it's on early, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll be
like you
at-
said, 9:30.
I'll be at the Eagles game.
Yeah.
Anyway, Barrett, now it is time for this.
Saddle up your camel. It's time for the Thirsty Camel mailbag.
Thank you once again to Thirsty Camel. This week's special Swan Draft, only $57.99 a carton. This week we have a $50 gift voucher to give away. Thank you to Thirsty Camel. Get your questions into quartersandbarra at wanews.com.au. Before I begin, Barra, I should mention the weekly tipper of the game competition is Michael Sinclair with 7 correct. I got absolutely smashed with 4 this week.
Too.
Overall leader, Lockie Montgomery on 130 quarters. 4 correct, 123 total. Barra, 2.
Mate, what was I thinking?
That's almost the pants down the lap round the pool table.
I reckon a lot of people got 2.
113 total. So you've got a bit of work to do.
I think that's Michael Sinclair, former captain of the Perth Footy Club too, mate. So good. Well done, Sinkers.
Well done,
life
Sinkers.
member. So Gold Coast. See, you could have gone either way, Gold Coast, West Coast. So that North Melbourne, Geelong, Collingwood, Port Adelaide. Yeah, gee. Hey, we haven't talked about the Eagles a little bit. I need to tell you some stuff. When you want to do it, have you got an Eagles email or something?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
This one from Raul. He's back.
Raul.
G'day, Barras and Quarters. It was nice for JL on the weekend to give Tabs a send-off game on the same day as West Coast gave Gaff one in Hobart. That's a bit harsh. Unfortunately, we lost Saturday's game at the selection table. No specialist ruckman to back up Luke Jackson, and lack of quality crumbing small forward hurt us on the day. Interested in your thoughts, fellas, on Tab's bizarre selection and the other inclusions on the day. We've sort of covered that, Barra.
We have mentioned him, and he did look out of sorts, but having to come from Fremantle Oval, last minute get thrown in, not absolutely ideal. But you'd have to think maybe he doesn't go forward. Does Fifey go forward?
No. They've tried it. It doesn't work.
No.
Not the greatest kick.
Go forward to next season.
Oh, yeah, he does. Yeah, I think so.
Think so?
Yeah. I think
a bit of suggestion he's thinking.
Okay, well, I thought that they look a bit. They need his size in the midfield.
Yeah.
I think they need his size.
He wouldn't want to miss a flag either.
No, I reckon he goes one more.
More likely next year's the time now, isn't it?
I think so.
They're not going to grasp their chances.
But here's your segue to West Coast, because West Coast we're mentioning. What were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say that I was a bit surprised also about Harley Reid. Now, I know we're all friends of Harley Reid. I'm going to accuse of talking about him a lot, but he obviously heard what Zerha had said before the game.
Yep.
And do you see what Zerha said?
Yeah, remind me. Yeah,
said, I hate the Eagles.
Yeah.
He used the H word. I grew up being a docker.
Okay.
I hate the Eagles.
He did,
He said that like on the Friday.
He's an East Fremantle boy?
I'm not sure where he's a tough bugger, and he's a big bugger. And he probably, I don't know, he should have come home to Fremantle. I don't know. But anyway, I believe somebody told Harley about it, and none too happy about the way that Zerha was handling himself and what he was saying about the West Coast Eagles. And so there was a bit of argy-bargy. Zerha, a very hard man to take on, you'd have to say.
He is, yeah.
And he did get ragdolled a little bit there, Harley, at one stage. But as it turns out, Harley got fined for being in a melee. And we're talking about the dictionary, and you don't reckon I read it. I looked up in the Cambridge Dictionary what melee is, and it says, a fight involving a number of people. Well, guess how many people got fined for the melee on the weekend in the Eagles game? 1.
Harley.
Okay. No one else. So
is he creating a rod?
Who was he fighting?
Zerha.
And others.
Yeah.
And what, they were just saying, settle down, Mr. Reid. Just take it easy.
It's a good point.
Like, how the hell could it just be Harley getting fined?
The AFL sending a message to him, just settle down.
Yeah, I reckon maybe you're right. Maybe it's... I hope they don't take the message, because you know what? His approach to the game has passed on to a lot of the other players now. I reckon they've become...
Playing with a lot of spirit.
Yeah, and exactly. And I think that's what he's providing to the club, and I wouldn't take it out. Maybe he can modify a little bit.
I think modify it a little bit. I don't mind it. That's how he plays. That's how he gets the best out of himself. So don't change that, please. He's combative. That's fine. Maybe modify it a little bit. Because you've got to pour most of your energy into the footy and the skills and the getting it forward. And I'm just... Yeah.
And the North people would say, McKercher, he's better anyway.
Would you really care, though, about someone coming out? Isn't it a bit of the theatre? Do you really care about someone coming out and saying, I hate you before a game? Do you really?
Is that actually a real question?
Yeah.
You actually
would you
me,
care
are you
about
actually
that?
asking me that?
Yeah, would you care?
If someone said, I hated your club, you just go, sweet.
So what?
You would kill the bloke, mate. That's your right. That is we're very basic people.
Are we?
Footballers.
Okay.
Very, very basic people. And if you give them that ammo, it's like raw meat to a lion. Oh, I've been brilliant. I don't kill that prick, as he said that. And you could make up stuff. That guy said you're no good. He reckons you're shit. Oh, show him. Well, pardon me. Sorry, buddy. Beep that bit. Going back to Harley, he also took Mark of the Year.
It was a great.
Not Mark of the Year. It wasn't Mark of the Year.
Jeez, I tell you what, just right up there, and he was
because Bobby still wins.
Yeah,
or
I think
Jamie Elliott.
I forget who I picked out of those two. One of them. I forget who I picked. I like your comment about players though, because I've got to throw it in the old Alan Jeans metaphor. He said footballers are like sausages. He said you can boil them, you can braise them, you can stew them, you can fry them, but they're still sausages.
Never going to help launch the space shuttle, are we? Let's be honest.
Hey,
look, Harley's mark. What I was going to say was
it was a highlight of the weekend.
I think Bobby's our man. We're picking our Indigenous team of the century at Perth this week. And
Okay.
I'm having Bobby came through there, Buddy Franklin came through there, Merv Kelly, Willie Dick, Shane Cable, Chance Bateman. We've had some unbelievable players.
Yeah, you have. You sure have.
Wayne Ryder, talking about blokes who can take hangers. Ash Sampi won Mark of the Year once, and he won a Toyota Prado.
Mm-hmm.
This year's prize is $50,000.
Yeah.
So, okay. And for a while there was no prize.
Probably won't get you a four-wheel drive. Expensive these days.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You get a second-hand one. And then for a while they didn't have a prize. And then Nick Nat, when he got Mark of the Year, do you know what he got?
Oh, no.
A year's supply
Yes.
of Wheat Bix.
Really?
I was talking to him. He got a year's supply. It was sponsored by Sanitarium. And then
I'm a bit of a Wheat Bix man. I could probably do with a year's supply of Wheat Bix.
Toyota.
I'd rather have the car though.
$50,000.
Yeah,
Wheat
rather have
Bix.
the car. Yeah, I know.
And then someone got a year's supply of pies the year before.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not.
How many pies could you eat a week?
Well, it depends if it's a 4 and 20 or not.
Yeah, it was 4 and 20.
I
Yeah,
love the 4 and 20.
So how many could you eat a week?
Oh well, no. I don't know.
I'm trying to work out
no
how many
more than
pies
one a
that
day. You don't want more
Yeah,
than one
so
a day.
okay, so
there's
what? 7 a week?
Yeah.
7 and 5, 350 pies you want.
Oh, jeez, I tell you what, not good for the
Yeah,
guts.
$50,000, Toyota Prado, 350 pies.
Moving on, lads, as much as calls of things ruining the game are overused cliches, this AFL administrative duo of Dylan and Kane are doing just that. Fixturing and the opening round debacle. Dylan's laughable best it's ever been umpiring statement and Kane refusing to directly answer questions about specific MRO decisions are examples. Anyone who dares to speak out about MRO or umpires are silenced by sanction, though the whinging from Fly is very ironic. Now this rubbish about a wildcard round that no one wants. They don't listen to and disrespect the fans and are too arrogant to admit when they have stuffed up. Something has to change, and that is from Jarrad, a.k.a. the Pilbara Peanut Barra.
Another great email from the Pilbara Peanut.
People talk up the way Geelong and Sydney have stayed in the mix for a decade without dropping off and hail Scott and Longmire as master coaches. Across the last 10 years, as of round 22, Geelong have the most wins with 159. Sydney are next with 149. Port Adelaide have won only 4 less games than Sydney with 145 and daylight to 4th. Granted, Longmire and Scott have the flag, and that's the ultimate measure. But Scott's finals record isn't great, and Hinkley has contended for just as long. And if he somehow wins it this year, he sits by all measures alongside both those coaches. That's Seb from O'Connor. Love the email, Seb, and could not agree with you more. I think Ken Hinkley is a very underrated coach, and you've got to admire him. They're in second spot on the ladder right now.
Yeah.
And gets them up thereabouts every year, and a lot of pressure. Just like there is here in WA, in a 2-team town over there. Don't worry, mate. He copped every bit that Adam Simpson copped over here.
Well, who would be the equivalent over here of Warren Treadray?
Suma or a Jacko or someone like that?
Even more than
Or
that?
you?
Even more than that, you reckon?
Or
No,
you?
you got to be a champion. So a champion, first of all, but also access to the media. Was on Channel 9, has a radio show. When you have a bloke like that, an absolute legend of the club, coming after you and he's on the board as well. He's actually on the board and he's trying to get rid of you, which that must be horrific. That's why the Eagles never put any of
So
their
fair
blokes on the
play
board.
to Ken Hinkley. That's a lot of pressure he's been under.
Yeah.
Love the way he goes
Eagles
about
are
it.
clever, aren't they? They don't put anyone on the board who can be divisive like that. You know what I mean?
Always been very
Rowan
meticulous
Jones,
with their selection
Tony
of the
Evans,
board, as you know.
Michael Brennan, I think they're the three. Hey, Melbourne's putting out a statement today
Yes.
about Christian Petrarca, saying that there's been some rumours on a podcast in the East called Quarters Barra.
Yeah, that's it.
The
We
game.
have a lot of fans over there who listen to us.
So they're putting out a statement to say that he won't be traded and he's a much-loved figure, blah, blah, blue, consider all the rest.
He is a much-loved figure. He's a fantastic player.
And some wag, my mate Mark, the pastor, has said, they should hand deliver those. They should hand deliver those letters. Because that's how many members they've got.
Oh, that's a bit harsh. That is a bit harsh. Hey, boys, Freo's development has stalled. Port, Carlton, Hawthorn, Essendon and now Geelong. A pattern has emerged where they can't close out games and they never seem to have a plan B when a run is on against them. He's talking about
Freo.
Freo, yeah. My question is, what do they need? 3 first-round picks cannot be wasted. Is it on-field talent or is it a coaching mindset gap? I'm worried you're going to say Bolton. He often looks disinterested and I don't think we want that. That's Joel from Carlisle. I am going to say Bolton because I think Shea Bolton would be perfect for them, like a high half forward who could eventually replace Sonny Walters and run through the midfield. I think he'd be a good pick. But they do have 3 first-rounders. I'm going to say, Barra, I'm actually not going to. I'm really hopeful about where Fremantle's heading. Now, I know a lot of supporters will say, you just, you drunk the Kool-Aid. I think there's been a lot of ups about this year. I think there's been a lot of steps forward taken this year. And a fully fit squad, I think they're headed somewhere, this team. So don't lose faith just yet.
You know what's happened? You know what's happened, don't you? And Cameron obviously was a massive in that game, so that you don't forget they're playing against one of the all-time greats.
Well, they've lost their key defensive pillar.
And Coxie looked like he bloody... I don't know. He went off the boil, Coxie.
Still 2 weeks to go here. Let's salvage something. And I'm just saying, just hang around because they've still got a bit to do.
But what I was going to say was, what's happened, Quarters, is that they've got ahead of themselves a bit, the fans, and also the Dockers. Not the Dockers themselves, but because they were at one stage second, or were they almost? I think they were second, weren't they? And they were looking at a top 4 finish, and then people are talking them up about contenders and double chances and all this sort of stuff, and everyone gets up and about. And then when they fall a bit short and go back to where they probably sit, like before the season, where did you have them sitting?
Outside the 8.
Yeah, you had them missing the 8.
Yeah, I did.
And I had them from 7 to 10. So I didn't even go as hard as you, but 7 to 10. So, and they're in that zone at the moment. They're 6th. So what's happened is everyone's got their expectations up and so now they're devastated that maybe they're not going to win the flag and they might pinch one. But it is a pinchable year. That's the only thing. But next year was always going to be the year, wasn't it? So I get what that bloke's saying.
Hi, Barra and Quarters. As someone who's become a bit of a name to throw out, and yes, I'm enjoying my 15 seconds of fame - notoriety, feel like I am being mischaracterised. I love my bells and whistles. I send out the Cyclone Tracy YouTube clip to my family friends. I understand fully Barra's challenge of telling a story in the confines of one podcast example. When wanting to tell a tale to the kids, I plan a long road trip to be able to get the story in. Nullarbor trip is excellent for it. Is that how you handle it, Barra? I also have sympathy for Quarters. Almost AFL career, as I also could have had a career, except I was deceptively slow. Meant I was always where the ball was rather than where it's going to be. Finally, a football question. Now West Coast have locked in pick 3. Are you taking best available or splitting? And if so, what are you doing with the split assets? Looking forward to the show continuing in 2025 as we watch the 2 West Aussie sides continue their rise. Thanks, Chris. Great email, Chris.
Very good.
Barry, you can answer this
Liam
nicely.
Baker.
We love Chris.
So what they're doing is Liam Baker, they're getting that Graham.
Yep, Jack Graham. Very good player. Liam Baker, very good player.
Who just happens to be Liam Baker's best mate.
There you go.
So he's the stable pony.
And Liam Baker would have played under
Jarrad
Schofield.
Yeah. He's not the stable pony. That was a throwaway line. You know,
I'm glad you said that.
You know the.
They're both bloody good
players. Have you ever seen the thoroughbred and the stable pony?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, have you ever seen it in an operation?
Yes, I have.
So to keep these thoroughbred under control, the stable pony comes in, and nuzzles.
I understand all that, mate. But the thing is, they're both premiership players, very good players.
Gilby's doing it. Gilby does it for Harley Reid.
Okay.
Gilby came over from wherever his best mate lives with him. They live in Innaloo together.
Okay.
I believe in a former captain's resort.
Well, let's not give too much away.
He's got like Melrose Place there.
Has he? Nice.
How come that hasn't got into the snitch or whatever that segment is?
I don't know. You'd have to ask the snitch or the...
Who is the snitch, do you reckon?
I don't know. I keep asking the sports editor and he won't tell me.
He's got a very similar style to a good mate of mine.
Yeah, who's that?
You.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's not me, I can tell you that, mate. I can tell you that. You have been listening to Quarters and Barra. We are brought to you by Tab Touch. Got the touch? Download the Tab Touch app today. Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Barra. Good luck for your tips this weekend. You've got 10. You've got to catch me in the final 2 rounds. All the very best with that. We'll be back with you on Thursday.